Hey, hi everybody. We're just starting. We're going to start probably in a minute. We just wanted to check in and make sure everybody can hear. Welcome to my kitchen, to the Vital Healing Kitchen Show. I'm Dr. Ritamarie. Just go ahead and type into your chat box and let me know if you can hear. We have a great show planned today. I'm so excited, so very excited. And this is all inspired by you guys out there and the things that you told me that you want. So we're going to go ahead. Is it hearing?
Live stream offline.
It takes a little while sometimes, and the last few times that happened.
Doesn't do that with the test.
Nobody's showing up. All right. Sandy. Hi, everyone. Playing with food, my favorite. Let's see. Sandy, can you hear? Right. I can see, not hear. I cannot see, hear. Cannot hear. Yeah, see, this is what's been happening the last 2 months. So I'm not going to get started right away. We're just going to see as people come in. And oftentimes it says it's on. And share on? No. Cancel. All right. How about now? You starting to hear? Cannot see or hear. We've been testing for hours. Next month we have to use the new version of this software, so hopefully it works better. How about Chet says I'm muted, can't hear either. Laptop and iPhone can see your face, not hear anything. Can't see my face anymore because I'm not there. Okay.
What does that laptop have anything to do with it? Oh.
That's the screen. Live stream offline.
Very refreshing.
I did. There's the to do with
Can see your kitchen. Can hear you now. Yay! I think there's just this minute or two. It's been consistent. So we're just going to come on and play around. So consider us. We haven't started yet. We've been just playing around. So yay! All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to our Vital Healing Kitchen Show. I'm Dr. Ritamarie Loscalzo, and this is one of my favorite things to do. I get to come into the kitchen. I get to play with food. I get to make delicious and healthy things, and I get to entertain you, if you call being shown how to make food entertaining, which a lot of people do, right? Of course. So we're here today with a different kind of show. Rather than having a particular ethnic cuisine we're going to do or a particular nutritional profile we're trying to meet, this month's show is about redoing old favorite recipes. And this show is born out of a Facebook post that I did a few months ago. And I just wrote in, hey, what are some of the old favorite foods that are not so good for you that you'd love to be able to make in more delicious, more nutritious ways? And we got a whole long list. And I had that list over here somewhere. I have this big long list. And I decided to pick some and go through it. So I'm going to share with you some of the things on here that we've done already. And then some of them that we plan to do on part 2 of this in June, because the list is way too long to do in one show. So we did pizza in April. So if you're in the Vital Health community, go back to our April show in the archives, and you can see the pizza show, pizza and lasagna we did then. We also did tortillas then as well. If you're not in the Vital Health community, go to vitalhealthcommunity.com. You can sign up. You can do a 2-month trial where you'll get the back 2 months as well. So you'll be able to see that and determine if you want to stay with us. We have 6 years of archives when you join as a premium member. So it's really fun. So we're going to do that. We did bread. Bread we did on the Passover show, but I think next month I'll do it again. Tortillas we did in April. Pasta we did then. And a lot of times. Cookies we did it on the holiday shows. If you go back to any of the November, December shows, you'll see them. But we'll do them again, but not this time. And then there were a few others that people wanted, and we will do in probably next month. We'll probably do part 2 next month. Sourdough pumpernickel and rye breads. I can do all of this. It's actually in our Driving God to Heaven book. So you go to drivinggodtoheaven.com, you may see some sample recipes there, or you can buy the book. And pancakes we're going to do next month. So what are we going to do this month? That was a lot of stuff that we're not going to do today. So let me tell you what we're going to do. And this isn't not in any particular order, although it is. We're going to do ice cream, cheesecake, chocolate bars, bacon, cheese, ricotta cheese, nachos. Let me show you how to make a real quick butter substitute because people asked about butter on vegetables, and rice pudding. Now, if we don't get through all of them, whatever we don't finish, we'll make next month, okay? So let's get started because we have a lot planned here. And the first one is ice cream. Ice cream has always been my favorite food before I became healthy. I don't really eat it very much, except when I make it. I don't really make it that much, but I used to make it a lot when my kids were little. So we have this little ice cream maker. I don't know if you can see it. I got this on Amazon, and I can't remember the name of it. Should say it on here somewhere. Well, if you go on Amazon, it's called Gelato.
Hey.
Gelato, that's all it's called.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a gelato machine. It's around $150. It's an electric one. You can also get like a Cuisinart where it's not electric. You have a hand crank, but it still helps you to make good ice cream as well. And those are less expensive. But I was doing a lot of ice cream for demos and shows and when my kids were little and having parties. So I really like that. It has a bowl. The ones that are not electric, they have a bowl like this that's thick and it's got an insulated material. The problem with those, you have to remember to put it back in your freezer so that you can make your ice cream next time. With this, the machine itself has a compressor and a freezer in it. So you'll see, we're gonna make it first because it takes half hour, 45 minutes to make. So we're gonna put it in there. We're gonna take it out of the room because it's quite noisy. So usually I keep it off to the side or in the laundry room or something like that and let it make. So then we get on with the rest of the show. When you see how easy this is to make, you're gonna be very surprised. There's a lot of ways you can make it. I'm going to start with this coconut. This is coconut that I buy. You can buy the coconuts and you can scrape them out, but I happen to find this more convenient to buy it. And it's just organic Thai, young Thai coconut that has been taken out of there and put into a bag. This is the equivalent of about 3 coconuts. They run about $10 a bag. So for me, it's worth it to save the time, you know? And so I'm going to open this up. It has a little thing where it's supposed to just rip off when you get maybe because it's wet. The way I defrosted this was I just put it in a strainer, actually in my steamer pot, and I put water over it and just let it sit for probably a couple of hours by now. And it's still not opening. Why the heck?
Those makes it hard to open.
They always make it hard to open. You have to
Just cut it
really close down. I don't know.
Cut it underneath this. Yeah.
Well, that's true because I'm going to use all of it.
Is that Exotic Superfoods?
And it's exoticsuperfoods.com. Someone had mentioned on one of the more recent shows that they tried to order it and it wasn't going to be available till September. And I was like, whoa. But then I went in last week, 2 weeks ago, and I ordered it and it was no problem and it came in 3 days. They send it in ice and it just makes life easier.
Dry ice. Dry ice.
Dry ice. They send it in dry ice. That's right. So I'm going to do about half of this bag, and I'm going to let you know what amount of that is. We're going to use some of this for other things. We're going to use it to make coconut bacon as well. About a cup. So it's about a cup of coconut meat, depending on how big a family you're serving and how much you want to do. So you can use just the coconut, but I find it gets a little creamier and more ice cream-like when you add some nuts. So I like to add some cashews to it. So I put a cup of the coconut. I'm going to put a cup of cashews. And I'm going to put some vanilla. The dog loves cashews. So as soon as I said the word cashew, guess who came? She heard it from clear on the other end of the house, but she heard the word cashew. Now I'm going to make a base. I'm going to use the water. I'm going to put a cup of water. So it's 2 cups of the nuts and about a cup of water. And I'll blend it. I can always add more water, more nuts. We want to get a nice creamy consistency. So really simple to make. You could put other things in it if you wanted to thicken it with less nuts. You could put some white chia seed gel, the black chia seed gel. If you're going to make chocolate, you could do, but otherwise it makes your ice cream look a little funny. You could put a little bit of a konjac powder in there to give it kind of a more ice cream-like consistency. You'll notice if you buy commercial ice cream or the fake ice creams like the coconut ice cream or the whatever, almond ice cream, they always have some sort of thickener. They have guar gum or something like that. I think konjac is a much better alternative to that. And we'll see how we like the consistency, but we can always add probably a 1/4 teaspoon of this. And this you can get at konjacfoods.com. It lasts forever. It probably costs $10 for this, and I've had it for a long time, a long, long time. All right, so I'm going to put that in on the blender base, and then I'm going to add flavoring. So we can make chocolate ice cream, almond ice cream, we can make vanilla ice cream, mint chocolate chip ice cream. Like, what's your favorite? One of my favorites was always butter pecan. I love those chunks of pecan in it. So we're going to do some of that. Just because that's what we're going to put on. Okay, so I'm just going to put it on. This is plugged in. I'm going to start it on low, just like anything else. Good. The interesting thing I find with coconut, when you blend it and you add water, it seems to thicken. Right? It does. It takes a lot of water to get it too thick. Because I was looking like maybe I put too much in there, but that's a good consistency. So I'm going to go a little bit more. It just needs a little. It still has a little of. If you see it, I'm looking. There's like a little. Grainy. You can see grainy. Right? Exactly. That's the exact word. And Diane asked if I had not soaked the cashews. You could easily soak the cashews, and you can use whatever nut you like. If you're allergic to cashews, you can't get them, you can use whatever nut or seed. If you're going to make it a chocolate ice cream, then who cares what color your nuts make it look, right? If you want it white, if you're trying to make vanilla, probably best to use cashews, macadamia nuts, or pine nuts because they're white. Now, pine nuts are like super, super expensive, like $32 a pound. So I only use a little sprinkling of those as a condiment on top of things. And I use the cashews and Max. We buy our Mac nuts from a guy in Hawaii. Max Nuts is what he's called. We buy them in big bulk, so we get really good price. But even if you don't, it's way less expensive than buying it in the store. Even if you only buy, it might be minimum 10 pounds. So you can share it with your neighbors. But it's much less expensive than buying it at Whole Foods. And I recently had bought some at Whole Foods when I was traveling, and they weren't fresh. We call this guy, we order the nuts, he picks them, he dehydrates them at a low temperature and sends them off. So it's really cool. We're going to taste it. Ooh, now you can see how much different that looks. It's much smoother, right?
Yeah,
just a little bit. And that's how you know when to stop. People who don't have a lot of experience with making these kind of creamy things, they don't really know when to stop. And they, like, even in hotels where we've had them make us food, they don't know that you can get it actually as creamy as it is. So I'm going to just give it a little taste. And even with no sweetener and no flavoring, it actually tastes pretty good. If you guys want to just, I mean, it's not the way you would serve ice cream, but you just, okay. So we want to flavor. So I'm going to put some vanilla. Now I have an option of putting my vanilla bean powder, which will give it a little bit of a darkening to it. Not too bad. Or I could put in vanilla extract.
Well,
Either one.
I know we don't soak the cashews, but could. Is there pluses, minus?
Yeah, they soften up and they become a little more digestible. But the minus is that if you let it go more than 4 hours because you forget about them, you may have to throw them away because they get really mushy and gross. So that's the reason I don't usually do it because I forget to check them. So let's just use the powder because I think it's like it better. These have alcohol or glycerin in them. So I'm just going to put like probably a half a teaspoon. Notice I said probably about. That's how I make things, and that's how you'll learn to make it too. Because you'll taste it and go, not vanilla enough. You could put mint if you wanted to make it mint. I have all my essential oils here where I could take, orange essential oil. I can make dill flavored ice cream. I don't think so, right? But I have orange, I have lemon, I have lime, I have all those nice flavors, like peppermint, spearmint, etc. So I'm going to blend this up a little bit, and then we're going to sweeten it. but we have ice cream that we're going to be having a great time eating. And I like it with that because it gives the flecks of vanilla, right? And that's how you usually see it. You see the flecks of vanilla. So I like doing it that way. If it's not enough, I'll just add more. And I'm going to sweeten it. So I have a number of choices for sweetener. I could use Chinese lohan. A little goes a long way. I could use stevia, either the powdered green, which I have somewhere over there, or I can use the flavored stevia, English toffee, butter pecan, whatever, really nice, vanilla, to add more vanilla. I could use this new stuff, but I haven't researched it enough to know how I really feel about it, but it's just supposed to be, the only ingredient is kombucha squash, and they extract out, I don't know, but it has a sweet flavor and it's low glycemic and it has a high prebiotic content, which may be problematic for somebody who has some digestive stuff. So I'm going to go safely with lohan, just because I think it's a real safe. There's also the sugar alcohols, erythritol, xylitol. Some people are anti, some people are for, some people they work well with. I like erythritol, but I don't like the other sugar alcohols. And I'm going to start with a 1/4 teaspoon. And again, if I wanted chocolate right now, I'd just put in some raw cacao powder. Real easy. If I want to, and I can put nibs in it. So if I want to keep it with vanilla with chocolate chips, I can also do that. So I have both. But if you're allergic to chocolate, don't do well. If I wasn't yapping up to tell you all about this, this would literally be done in a matter of minutes. So I'm going to taste again just to see if it needs more vanilla. It looks really nice. I just put it on the back of my hand so I don't dirty my spoon. Wow.
Do you want to guess if you used a vanilla extract, how much you put in?
Half a teaspoon. Yeah. Either way.
Vanilla to taste.
Vanilla to taste. So I'm thinking it might need a little pinch more vanilla. About a 1/4 teaspoon of the lohan, and it gave it a super sweetness.
Wow, it's delicious.
Right, and that's not even done yet. So we're going to take this.
Oh, it's delicious.
Oh my God. As is. So again, we could put mint, we could put chips. I'm going to put it in there, and then I'm going to put a few pecans in there. So I have vanilla pecan, just because that conjures up childhood memories of going to Baskin and Robbins and getting their vanilla pecan, whatever, butter pecan ice cream. I once made a bet with somebody that I couldn't eat 5 pints of ice cream, and I did it.
Oh,
and one of them was butter pecan. So on top of that, I didn't just get the simple vanilla or chocolate. I did the ones with nuts. And yeah, I was not feeling so well after that, but I did it. I won the bet. I was 19 at the time, 20. Yeah, that was really helpful for me because I learned my limit, because I always thought, like, oh, I need ice cream, and then I need a pint of ice cream, and it wasn't enough, and I wanted more. And I thought I could just keep eating this. I could eat a gallon in this with this price. He said, I bet you can't eat 5 pints. And I said, sure, I could. I realized that 3 pints was where I wanted to stop. But before that, I still wasn't satisfied. But after 3 pints, it was like, I've had enough. So I realized my limit. All right. So that's it. If you want to lick it, you're welcome to it. Thank you. And see, it fills in. Now, I made a small batch just because I didn't want to spend a lot of time. But I could have filled it. I could have used the whole bag. I could have used more cashews in there, less. You may just use coconut, however you want to do it. And then we're going to stick it in here.
See that?
They can't see it? Yeah, if you can, that would be great, because you're going to bring it to the other room. I don't want to have to stick
Take
it
it out.
Yeah.
Show what you did.
Yeah, you can bring it here. So Scott's our strongman here, and he's going to...
That's how weak these guys are for calling me the strongman.
Okay, so I stuck the basket in there, and then I make sure that those things are down. See better days. And I put this on, and that's where the blade is to turn it. And we're going to turn the motor on. And I'm going to have Scott take it to the other room. So just set it for, there's a timer, set it for 45 minutes. Okay?
Okay, I'll turn it on first.
Well, it'll be very noisy as you hear, but I'll show you if you want me to. And you basically turn it on. It automatically starts at 60, and then we hit start, and the blade starts to turn. And now this will get cool, and yeah, ice cream maker. We've had parties here where we've had friends over where we've just done ice cream making. You know, we've done 2 or 3 different kinds of ice cream, and it was when the kids were little and their friends would be over. And we'd make 2 or 3 different kinds of ice cream and just keep, and you don't have to refreeze the container. You can't really do that for a big party. Anyway, that's ice cream. One of my favorite. Oh wait, I didn't put the pecans in. I'm gonna dip in the pecans. I'm gonna put about a half a cup of pecans in there. Yes, that's a good.
Whole pecans?
Yeah, well, that's what they usually do in the ice cream, no? Or you could just crush them with your hand and break them up into pieces. Maybe would be better. Or you can take out one of the hammer things. What do they call those things? Mallet. Yeah, I don't know where it is. Maybe it's in here. Or you could just.
I just didn't know if you needed the blender again.
Here, I'm going to have you put these in there. You just take anything and just crush them down a little bit. You want them chunky. Yeah, I wouldn't want to blend it. Here, if you could just stick these in. Just open the thing and stick those in. Here I am on my tippy toes again. Here you go. Put that in there. Put it in the ice cream, please. Just the pecans. All right. So that was that. It will seem like we're dessert heavy, but we're getting stuff done that takes a little longer to make, and that's why. Our next thing is cheesecake, and I could use that same blender without a major cleanup because it's basically the similar ingredients, very similar ingredients. I love when I don't have to clean up in between things. So we're going to find my ingredients. We're going to use, this time we're going to use artisan coconut butter rather than the fresh because it has less of a water content. And I'm going for, with cheesecake, I'm going for more density. So I'm going to put in, Scott's really good at making this. He should remember better than I what the proportions are. But I think it was half a cup of coconut butter. Do you remember?
What are you making?
Cheesecake. So I'm making a half a cup of coconut butter. I put a little bit, you can if you want to make it more firm. And since we're going to do this quickly, I'm going to put a little coconut oil. I'm not a huge fan of oils. And if you try to avoid oils, you can skip it too. But I'm going to put a little bit of coconut oil just because it will firm up more quickly if I do. No. This one has the
I just eyeballed the
yeah, I do too.
The coconut butter and the oil.
I know.
It's the cashew to water.
Yeah.
And that that you watch.
Hmm.
Half mac, half cashew.
Yeah, so it's half mac, half cashew is what we make it with. Again, you can make it with anything you want.
Half to one, I think.
It's a very dense cheesecake, so we're going to make a small one. And okay, so I'm just going to put, usually it's about 1/8 of a cup of this. And a half a cup of these.
There's a bunch of coconut oil in there.
Well, the one in there has a paper that fell into it, and I'm just concerned that it may not be fresh enough, so we can look at it later. This is tough.
I know.
The hardest part is there
opening them.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So I'm going to put in, the coconut oil is, because it's been warm here, the coconut oil is liquid. So we're going to do just 1/8 of a cup.
It wants to come out, doesn't it?
It wanted to come out. I thought it was going to still be thick, but I forgot that it's been 95 degrees out. Not that much warmer and not that much cooler in the house. So if I put in that, then I'm going to put in, we're going to do a cup each of cashew and nut nuts. Again, whatever nuts you want to use will work. Yeah, she heard cashew. There we go. She caught it in her mouth. She hears me say it. And so we're going to need 2 pieces of equipment for this. If you want to make a crustless cheesecake, you're just going to make the filling. Now, Karen Osborne has a great recipe for cheesecake where she uses zucchini in it. I haven't been able to master that recipe, but it's in our book, Desserts Making It Rich Without Oil. And she actually makes the zucchini in there without making it look green. I haven't been able to figure that out even when I peeled it. So I'm going to defer to her at some point to make that for me. But it's really good because it's less nutty. Yeah, and she's even done it with ice cream with zucchini, where she'll freeze the zucchini and blend that in there. I'm just going for the rich stuff right now, but there's ways you can play with it. If you wanted to make it more omega-3 rich, you could put hemp seeds in there. There's a lot of ways you could do it and make it. I'm going to make my classic recipe and just tell you some of the variations. All right, so we put that in. What else do we put in there? Vanilla.
Almond extract.
Almond extract is one of the favorites in our house. If you don't have access to it, you can leave it out and just do vanilla. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of vanilla.
Their new low glycemic, I would use sweet drops, some flavored sweet drops.
And then a little bit of vanilla.
That's almond, isn't it?
Almond, I'm saying half a teaspoon of almond. And then I'm going to use for this one for sweetness, I'm going to use the stevia vanilla to even enhance that even more. So I'm going to put 2 droppers full of that.
And the brand there are sweet drops.
That's the sweet drops. Yeah. And then it's sweet leaf. Sweet leaf.
Sweet leaf, I know.
Yeah. And you could use Lohan instead and more vanilla. I'm just trying to vary it up to show you that there's a lot of ways to sweeten things without sugar. We used to put dates in here. So if I wanted to give it a little bit of thickness, I could have used white chia gel. I've got some brown black chia gel here to show you, but I don't want to put that in because it's going to change the color, right? But you can do white chia gel, or you can use some of this to thicken it up as well. So I'm going to put maybe like an 1/8 of a teaspoon of this. If you put too much, it gets too stiff. But
The conjac.
The conjac, yeah. It's about a quarter
It doesn't
teaspoon.
need a lot. Once it freezes, it's really with the fat. It's
Yeah. All right, I'm just going to blend it and we'll see. And again, you can flavor it how you want. I did almond extract. You can put cherry. You can replace some of the water with some cherry juice extract if you're not sensitive to sugars. And I'm going to show you in a minute some ways to give it the flavor. Like if I wanted a strawberry cheesecake, I could put that in there without having to put the strawberries blended in there if my sugars are going to be sensitive. And then we can just decorate the top. I'll show you that when we're done with some beautiful strawberries. A tiny bit more water. Gotta be careful not to do too much. And this is a thick batter, so I'll put a little bit more water. Maybe. I had done 2 to 1, so 2 cups nuts, 1 cup water. But you might go a little bit higher than that. Is that creamy? Is that beautiful?
Is this just cashews? You put mac in there?
Cashews and mac, half and half. So I'm going to leave that here for now. And I am going to use this. This is a springform pan, and I'm going to press into the springform pan a crust. Don't have to do a crust. You can do a crustless cheesecake because it gets to be pretty heavy if you want. So there we go. Hold it in there. Okay, I put the parchment paper there so it doesn't stick. This is one of those non-stick things. I'm not a big fan of non-stick things. I'm not heating it. I'm putting it in there, but I don't trust that it's not going to stick. So I'm going to show you how to make a crust. You can make your crust with pretty much any nut or seed. And you just slide this over to me. Yeah. First, I'm going to there we go. And then swap them. All right. So I'm going to use my food processor. And I like pecan as a crust. I would like maybe pecan and almond or pecan and sunflower seed. In this particular case, I think I'm going to go for those hemp seeds because they're calling my name. So I'm going to do the hemp seed right there.
Hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts.
I usually do half.
Oh, that's right, hazelnuts. See if we can find hazelnuts in there. That would be great.
Half pecan, half hazelnut.
I don't really need a whole cup of these. I'm going to do half cup of each. But it may be that I have this big blender, so I have to do a whole cup. And then you can use them for cookies. We'll have a bonus recipe. I'll show you how to make cookies with the leftover. Hazelnut. This is my favorite. I was trying to think of what my favorite is. And the pecan is very oily, and the hazelnut is relatively dry. And when you put them together, it's incredible. So I'm going to put about a cup of each, just because I have this big capacity blender or food processor, and it's a little bit difficult if I do less than that. And holding it together, I used to use raisins or dates. I'm just going to put a nice big tablespoon of chia gel to just hold it together. That was just teaspoons. Just to hold it together. It's pretty cool. All right. I'm just going to show you parts of the way through. See, it's starting to hold together, but it's still pretty crunchy. It's the really nice fattiness of the pecans. You could do walnuts instead. And then once it's getting close, I'm going to throw a little bit of the hemp seed in there. It's almost like a powder flour. Oh, look at that. And if you like a real crunchy crust, you could go with it as is. Right? You can have a nice crunchy crust, or you can go with it a little bit less. I'm going to taste it. And you don't need to put sweetener in the crust because it's already got the sweetness of the cake. But you could put a pinch of salt, and salt tends to bring that out. Again, if you don't like salt, leave it out. Very little, like less than 1/8 of a teaspoon. Very, very little. If you do want your crust sweet, put a little stevia in. Put a tiny pinch of Lohan, tiny pinch, because it's pretty strong. And now we have this. I could put a pinch of hemp seeds because I want to go for omega-3. I'm always thinking about how to make things as healthy as possible, and I want to balance the omega-3 6. I did chia and hemp, which are high in omega-3, and then the walnuts or the hazelnuts and the pecans are higher in omega-6. So we're trying to balance it. The good news about the coconut, cashew, and mac, which is in the base, those have very little omega-6 or 3, so it doesn't throw your balance off. So you've got this, and you're just going to basically take it and press it in. Now, if you just want a very thin crust, just use part of this and save the rest for cookies. So I'm pushing. And oftentimes when we make it, Scott especially, he doesn't like the heaviness of having a crust usually. He likes to make it without, and that's fine too. If you're going to be serving it, it sometimes makes it a little more difficult to serve it if the crust isn't there to kind of hold it at the bottom, but it works. It's more like a thick pudding when you do it that way. So all I'm doing is just spreading it to the desired thickness in the bottom of the pan. These pans are easy to find at most, Michael's and Hobby Lobby and things like that. But also you can get them on Amazon. I have them in probably every shape and size known to mankind. I have heart shapes. I have a rectangle. I have several different sizes of round. I have little cupcake tins with them. So if you wanted to make them for a kiddo's party, right, you can just make these little cupcakes. Really, it's quite fun and therapeutic, and it's not very hard to do. And the cool part is these are no bake, so you don't have to spend all your time, heating up your kitchen, especially in the summer. It's a nice summer treat, and every time I've made these, people have gone nutty. I've taken them to church events. I've taken them to family events, And people go crazy over my stuff. In fact, one time, a friend of mine who knows how I eat, and she eats similarly because she coached with me, I brought in this beautiful cake, and it was just gorgeous. It was a cheesecake-like thing. She came over to me and goes, "Did you make that over there?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I thought so. I thought I saw you take it in, but it looks so decadent." I wanted to make sure, and those people are hovering around it. I want to make sure I get my piece before everybody else eats it. So that's how the desserts go. They're just, and you don't have to tell people that it's super healthy. And you could make it really therapeutic. You could put sprigs of other herbs in that, like therapeutic herbs, ashwagandha. If you're trying to support your adrenals, you could put cordyceps mushroom. If you don't mind green, you could stick some green in there. You have a green in the cheesy part, and then put mint flavor. So now you have mint, which is supposed to be green, right? And now you've got greens of like chlorella or whatever in there, but the mint covers over it, and people are getting this really nice dollop of green. So I can leave some of this on here so you guys can. There we go. And then we just pour it in. Okay, it's nice and thick. And then when it comes out, you could decorate it. You put strawberries on top, and I'll show you how you pop it out. The reason for springform is it pops out. So when I'm finished, I put this in the freezer, but then I pop the form off, and it stands up, and it looks gorgeous. And again, it could be chocolate cheesecake. So put some chocolate powder in there, the sky's the limit, really, when it comes to this stuff. And probably can use more. I'm going to give it to Scott to put outside in the freezer so that it gets a little bit of deep freeze. If you don't need it until the next day, you probably get away with putting it in the refrigerator. But when you want it done quickly, you put it in the freezer.
And it will get frozen.
It will, yeah. Mm. Oh, wow. Pretty amazing. All right, thank you, dear. Wash my hands a little bit, and then we'll move on to whatever our next recipe is. All right. If you have questions, put them in. Scott will be back monitoring that in a moment. And I'm going to just show you what I will do with these to make them into cookies. So if I want to make it into a cookie, I would probably add a little bit of something sweet to it to give it that cookie flavor. But I'd also put in some spices. So I could put in some ginger. I put in some cinnamon. I have cinnamon here. Let's make a cinnamon cookie. So I could just add some cinnamon here. I could add a little more vanilla. Since this isn't connected with the inner part, I could put some vanilla and ginger, or I could put some more of the liquid stevia, or I could put in some Lohan. Where'd my Lohan go? Right here. And Lohan, remember, super strong. Really just need literally a pinch. You can buy a pound of Lohan extract and have it for a couple of years, depending on how much. Okay. Yeah, because I don't turn on the food processor again for just a small amount, and it's cookie, right? So I'm going to just pretend it's cookie dough that I've made and done cookies. Who hasn't done cookies in the past? Christmas cookies and whatnot. If I wanted to make it a chocolate cookie, I'll just put some cocoa powder in there or carrot powder. Okay, now I have this dough, and I could take a pin, a rolling pin. Here, I could take a rolling pin and I can roll it out, or I could just shape them with my hands. Which right now I'm just going to shape it with my hands. And I like to dehydrate them, but the other way is to freeze them. So I'm going to just put these on a little plate, and we'll stick them in the freezer. The other way is you can use these molds. This is a really nice way to do it. And there's all different sizes and shapes of molds, and you can just press a little bit of cookie dough into these molds, and they're kind of like little mini cupcakes. You could stick them in the freezer to firm up, or you could stick them in the dehydrator to firm up. And now there you have it. These are gorgeous little cookies. And if I have a rolling pin, I can roll them out. At Christmas time, I take out the Christmas cookie cutters. Let's see. I mean, once I do this, it just shapes them, and I pop it right out. So they're just a real nice way to shape them. So I'm going to ask Scott to come back over here and stick these out there too. And then when we have our ice cream, we can have our little cookie. Do you ever have ice cream served and they have the little cookie sticking out of it? Yeah, we can do that. And if we wanted to make them long, the flat kind of cookies, we can do the same. Just shape it however you want to. And she's sitting there waiting. Here. She's licking the, you can do it that way too, make like biscottis. She was licking the place where I had dried my hands on to try to get the flavor out. You silly doggy. Oh, yeah. There we go. I didn't even taste that. Oh, wow. Ginger would be really good in there. All right. So next recipe, I'm sure I have it. Chocolate bars. This is what people ask for. So I'm going to give you it's really easy to make chocolate bars, but if you go to the store to buy them, they always put some kind of sweetener in them. A lot of times they put dairy in them. So what if you can make a chocolate bar, and then you can therapeutically fortify it, because you can hide green in chocolate pretty easily. I used to do that to my kid. So I'm going to use, I'm going to use a bowl. We have, and what I did was, I put into the dehydrator to soften some cacao butter and cacao paste. So let me show you what those are. There's a lot of options for making chocolate bars. This is called cacao paste wafers. What I did was, this is just whole chocolate cacao, nothing added to it. You can eat it like this, but it's very bitter. I don't mind it. One time a friend came over and I put almond butter on top of it with 1 drop of stevia, and she thought it was the best treat ever. So for those of you who are low glycemic, you're welcome to try it. You want to try it? Okay. Oops, it's just a half. Oh well.
It's like baking chocolate.
Yeah, but it's just, yeah, exactly like baking chocolate. So what I did was I just melted them in the dehydrator for maybe 15 minutes to make this truly a paste. And then I took the butter, cacao butter, which is the fat part extracted out when they make the powder. And that's the butter. And the butter has that strong, like a white chocolate flavor. Now my choice is I could take the butter, and then I could add cacao powder to it, something to sweeten it up, and then some other flavors to it. I personally like to add coconut. I just love coconut because it holds it together. So I'll start with that one. Oops. And I'll put about, so this is about, that's a half a cup. It's about a third of a cup. A third of a cup of cacao butter. So I'm going to put in a quarter of a cup of cacao powder. And I'll use my spoon. Now you can do all of this in a blender as well. I'm just deciding, now look at that. Does that look gorgeous or what? See? And then, do we want a flavor to it? Do we want to make it a mint chocolate? Do we want, so, if we have the bars, where's my, there we go. Various molds that I've bought over the years. I usually buy them on Amazon. But these are kind of my favorite because you can actually make the bars. So you just do the thin layer in there, and then they have the little spots where you can break them off. Same with that. So it's a way to make a chocolate bar. Now, this is going to taste bitter because that's what chocolate is, so it needs some flavor to it. I could put a little pinch of coconut oil in there, or coconut butter. If I was doing it in the blender, I would put coconut butter. That's usually my choice. I'm just going to put like a tablespoon of coconut oil in there too to give it some flavor. And then what flavors do we want? What kind of flavor do we want to make this? We have two.
Is that cookies?
Chocolate bars.
We're going to make chocolate bars.
Mint.
Mint? Let's do mint. So we can go to our mint here. And again, you could do lemon, you could do lime, you could do vanilla, you can do them plain. Orange would be good. Where's my mint? My peppermint is missing.
I'll do orange.
Here. You don't see my mint. Nope, I stressed away.
Oh, that's weird.
I must have brought it somewhere else and it didn't. No, I don't have a mint. So it's I could put spearmint in though. Oh, it's spearmint. Oh, it's spearmint. Let's do spearmint. Spearmint? Yeah. A few drops, maybe 5 drops. And then we can put some sweet in it. We can do Lohan, we could do stevia, we could do some of this other, this stuff. Where is it?
The boca.
The Boca stuff. It's not here, so it mustn't want me to find it.
No,
So-
is that white orange? Right, that one, isn't it? No?
No, that's cacao nibs. Right. Come here. We use the Lohan again.
Focus.
That's it. Was that it? Oh, that's it. Good, it was hidden. And this would be about a teaspoon of this. And I'll just show you what you could do with it. Now, if you didn't want to use either the coconut butter or the nibs, you would use coconut. You would use your chocolate, some water, maybe some coconut. So a teaspoon of that in there. And then I'm going to taste it. Pretty good. Here, you guys can taste it. I don't like things super sweet, so you might want it a little sweeter. Yeah. So it's really simple. I would put, the peppermint would be stronger, so I would put a little bit more mint to it. Peppermint will make it better.
Yeah.
But what the heck? Pretty good. Spearmint with a little bit of, put a little bit of orange in it. Orange mint. Tastes good. But make it whatever you want it to taste like, whatever your favorite flavors are. And I'll show you what we're going to do. Now, we're going to make this, I'm going to start with this one I'm going to use to make this thin thing of chocolate. Now, if I wanted it to be crispy, crunchy, I could use cacao nibs in it, which are just little nibs of it. I could use Lily's sweetened chocolate, sweetened with xylitol chips in it. But I really wouldn't want big chips in a little thing like this. If I'm going to do it, I just want small ones. You could grind up some pecans or almonds, or you put hemp seeds in there. I'm going to make it omega-3 rich. Put a little bit of hemp seed in there. And stir it around again.
What about maca?
Oh, maca would be really good. Yeah.
You can grind up some coconut and make like crunch bars.
Or coconut. Yeah.
We have shredded coconut. Where's my shredded coconut? There we go. Good idea, right? Like a Mounds bar. Yeah. And how much? Just how much feels right to you? Ooh, nice. Okay. Now with the deeper molds, you can actually do them layered, where you can put in big bits of nuts and stuff. But the specific request for our group was chocolate bars. So what I'm going to do to put this in the freezer, I'm going to take one of these pans, which I would never use to bake anymore anyway, and I'm going to pour, because this will hold it steady, and we can carry it out to the freezer. So all I'm going to do is just pour this in. And then there we have it. We'll stick that in the freezer.
Will it just be one block?
Well, it has the,
Oh, it's got
so it's just going to pop out in the little squares. So if you wanted to do that. Now, the other thing you could do is if you wanted to make like a brick, you know how you bark, right? You can take a bunch of blended up nuts and you can put it in a baking pan, put that down at the bottom, and then just pour this over it. And then you can break it off, right? So there's so many things you can do. I'll do this on here. I'll do it on one more here. And then we can put these in. Thank you. And there we have chocolate bars. So, so many possibilities that you have with this. And I'm going to have you take this out and put it outside if you can. Actually, let me just pour the other one in. That's a little easier to work with to get it flavored because this is really strong. So what happens with this is you need a little bit more sweetener than you need. It's thicker. And if you taste it, it's very strong. It's just like tasting those little bricks. You're like, okay, this needs some flavor. But what flavor? Almond is really awesome. I love almond extract. Maybe put a teaspoon of almond extract in there. I'll put a little bit of vanilla. Here's my vanilla powder. Thank you. Put a little vanilla in there. And now we're going to have a really nice flavorful chocolate. Now this one would be good with a bunch of nuts and stuff in there too. To you just put it right in there and pour it into some of these thickers and you can make more of a truffle type of a chocolate. Like it's too thick. Now it's way too thick to pour, right? So what would you do? Well, you could thin it with water. You could thin it with some coconut oil. There's a lot of things you could thin it with, right? But we're going to just leave it at this for now and keep your imaginations flying. Because I don't want to run out of time. I want to make sure we get to the bacon. So I will give this to Scott. There we go. And yeah, this has gotten thick, so I'd have to play with it. But there are a lot of options. Oftentimes, like with it that thick, I'd probably put it back in the blender, and I'd start, playing with it with ingredients to get it to the right consistency. All right, questions, comments? Is it good so far? You'll have to come back and see what you're answering. So you want to make bacon. I never really liked bacon, so I could care less, but I do like this kind of bacon. So, but a lot of people really miss that bacon, that smell of the bacon. I just thought it was obnoxious. I don't eat bacon. I don't really think of it. Some people eat salmon bacon. It's still got some preserve. I just don't think it's the best of the best foods, right? Even if you're going to eat organic meat. So we're going to make bacon, 2 eggs. We're going to make bacon with eggplant, and we're going to make bacon with coconut. And I'm going to turn it off a little bit. I'm going to slice the coconut. I'm going to slice the eggplant, and I'm going to make the same sauce for both of them. Now the sauce is whatever you like, whatever you want, but I'm going to use some things like smoked paprika and smoked salt to give it kind of a smoky sensation. So I'm going to go in to here and get my peeler. And I'm going to take my eggplant. Okay. And Scott, if you could check, I asked if there are any questions or comments. If you can go backwards in time and check to see if there's any questions.
That we haven't covered.
Well, you were gone for a while, so
I'm just saying. And that I haven't covered.
Okay.
One only question was how much hemp seed was put into the.
Oh, probably 2 tablespoons. It's all of this stuff is really your own taste. Some people feel like hemp seeds are a strong acquired taste, so they start with very small amounts before you get used to it. It's kind of like dandelion and arugula. I used to just take tiny bits of it. Now I'll put a whole plate full of arugula because I've gotten used to it and I really like it and enjoy it. So we're going to cut this. You can cut this with a knife and just cut thin slices. You can use a manual mandolin, or you can use one of my favorite things, which is that meat slicer over there.
The question was how to make the ice cream without ice cream maker.
Well, you could just put it in a container and put it in the freezer, but you would have to set a timer and keep going in there and spinning and turning it because it becomes crystallized if it doesn't turn. So you can get this kind of ice cream maker. You can get the manual, like Cuisinart type ice cream maker, or you just put it in a deeper bucket and then just go in there every so often and serve it. The old-fashioned ice cream makers have use dry ice, and they just put them in a big bucket. Okay, so that's my eggplant. This is my meat slicer. Again, you don't need this. I'm just showing you what your options are. This is a meat slicer, and it slices things really thin, and it's really quick. So I like to use it on the show because it's really thin and quick. But a regular mandolin that you can buy at Bed Bath & Beyond or one of those places, or Target, or any place like that, is fine. But you'll see how quickly this does it and how thin it does it. So
Such short cords on this.
I don't know why they put short cords on them. It doesn't make sense. So I'm going to do the long way like that. And we're just going to turn it on, and we're going to make these thin slices of eggplant, and they're going to shrivel up. Now, this particular recipe, you can either cook it, bake it, or you can dehydrate it. My favorite way is dehydrate it. Either way works. And don't ever put your finger, if you feel like it's in the wrong place, don't put your fingers near it. This works well if you want to make eggplant parmesan. I've done it. I did it with zucchini last month when we made the lasagna. So I just did this with the zucchinis. I'm going to turn it off because one of the pieces got stuck in there, and I don't want to put my fingers near it when it's not. But see these? That's what we're going to do. That should be good enough for now. We can finish the rest and make it later. Take that. And then I'm also going to do coconut, and I'll show you what I do with the coconut. Got it? All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Yeah, so see, we've got a whole bunch of these very thinly sliced pieces of eggplant. I'm going to go to my little bag of exotic superfoods, or you could do it with your fresh coconut. The other way you could do it is just to buy those coconut pieces. They're like chunks. What do they call them? Coconut, not shreds. These are shreds. But
Flakes.
not flakes. They call them something else, and I don't remember what it is.
The big ones.
But they're big.
Oh.
They're thick and they're big, and you can use that, so you'll get little strips. But in this case, I'm just going to cut some of this. And I think I'll go like that, cut it in half, and then just slice it. And this is more of a manual process. The coconut isn't going to shrink as much as the eggplant, so I'm cutting it a little bit smaller, mainly because the coconut is higher fat content versus water content in the eggplant. Just as an aside, you can make really nice noodles with these. You just slice them really thin. And I've done this and made a coconut curry. Put it over the top. One time, this is a labor of love, I got 12 fresh coconuts. I invited some people over who had helped me throughout the year at some of the classes I was doing. And I told them I wanted them to come over and I was going to treat them for helping me. And I cut open 12 coconuts.
Oh, goodness.
And thinly sliced them into noodles. Yeah. That was the only time I ever did it. Okay, just do this. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. Here. All right. So now we're going to make a sauce for this. So the coconut aminos out because I think I added that later and I don't see it. Did you take the coconut aminos out? Mm-hmm. In that drawer
on the left.
On the left.
Down.
Should be second
It's
shelf.
like a jar of soy sauce.
It's like a soy sauce substitute because a lot of people don't do well with soy. So this is a soy sauce basically made with coconut, fermented coconut, and it has that same. This is teriyaki sauce. This is different.
I know. I thought it.
And I don't know.
Okay, wait. Let's see. Coconut. Sea salt, ginger, onion, garlic, cayenne. This will be perfect because we're going to try to get that flavor. They make it. We usually get the coconut aminos, which doesn't have all those flavors. And I get nervous when I see teriyaki because usually people put sugar in that, but it's not. So we're going to use it. So I'm going to take a small bowl. Use that glass one. Thank you. Okay.
Whoa.
Good catch. to put in here, I'm going to put about a teaspoon of this guy. You can always add more, but don't overdo it with a soy sauce type of thing, because then it's just way too much. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of that. And I'm going to put a pinch. What else did I say? I was going to do garlic powder. A little bit of garlic powder, maybe a quarter teaspoon. Probably don't need it as much because this stuff has it in there. I have this really cool smoked sea salt. So I'm going to put a little bit of the smoked sea salt in it. And really a little bit, like, probably an eighth of a teaspoon. I don't want to over salt it. I don't want to over smoke it. It's a quarter. But if you smell it, it has that smoked cool flavor. Now the other thing I have, which I haven't used much of, is smoked paprika. So again, we're trying to get that bacony kind of a flavor. Smoked paprika. Again, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use a quarter teaspoon. Okay. And then let's see, pinch of oil. And I chose avocado oil. It's good at high temperatures in case you want to bake it, or olive oil. Again, I'm not a big oil fan. So if you don't want to put the oil in, don't put the oil in for the most part. Sometimes it's just going for the mouth feeling. It's going for that flavor that people want. You don't really need it so much with the avocado. That's not an avocado. That coconut, because it's high fat, but the eggplant isn't. So it gives it a mouth feel that's more like bacon. My hands are greasy. Can you try? I don't know about mussels.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where'd you go? Petting the dog. All right, so I'm going to put a teaspoon of the oil. Okay, and I'm just looking at my list to see what else I wanted to put in there. You put any other spices you want. I like cumin. Very good for therapeutics too. I'm going to put a little bit of cumin in there. I'm literally like quarter to an eighth to a quarter of a teaspoon. Not cinnamon. Pepper, a little bit of black pepper. And this, I found this, I got to buy more of this. Oh, I don't have to because I still have a jar of it, but I want to find out where to buy this. It's Firefly Kimchi Salt. And I got this at an event that it was at. So it's fermented and it's got some spiciness to it. So it's sea salt, Himalayan salt, garlic, Korean red pepper, green cabbage. It's the fermentation part. Green cabbage, ginger, green onion, Celtic sea salt. So I'm just going to put a little pinch of that in there. And I'm going to take a fork and I am going to stir it. And it's obviously heavy on the non-liquid parts. So I'm going to taste it before I decide whether I'm going to add water or whether I'm going to add a little bit more of the tamari. Now that wasn't really tamari, so it's a little thicker than what I was used to. I'm going to add some water. Just a little bit. Maybe a tablespoon of water. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm making this up as I go along. I've never made this before. Just truth be known. I've made eggplant bacon before, but usually not with a really fancy sauce. And I'm looking for a brush, like a pastry brush. We have one here. Yeah, got it. Yeah. Okay. So the reason I'm looking for the pastry brush is so I can brush it on. Now, if I'm going to do this in the dehydrator, which I probably will, because I don't want to turn my oven on because it's 95 degrees outside, I'm going to just put my eggplant down. And I'll put some coconut. The coconut I could just put in here, but the eggplant not. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can put it down and you can brush it on.
Let me get another tray.
I think we'll just do the one and then we can finish the others later. Okay, so we're going to brush all this on. Then we can save some of this for when we flip it, or we can flip it now. It's not so watery that we really need this Teflon sheet. But just brush it all on, however much you want. If you like it spicier, you'll put some more cayenne. If you like it saltier, there's plenty of options there. Okay, and then I'm going to bake it. In this particular case, I'm going to put it in the dehydrator, or you can bake it at about 300, 325.
How long?
About 30 minutes. For the dehydrator, probably you're going to put it in for 6 hours and then flip it. Although you could flip it now. Yeah, if you could get me another tray without the Teflex, I'll show how to do that. Now the other thing, because these are smaller, I could just put them in here, stir it around, coat it, and then put them on a tray. So let me flip like this. Okay, like that. I'll use this. And I think this will come off. Yeah. And then I can put some more on.
Another.
There we go. Right? So it went through. Thank you. And we have that other tray that you have here. And I'm going to put a little bit more of my sauce on the back. It seeped under, so that was good. But it's just not quite there, so I can just put a little bit more. Now I have eggplant bacon. Now, the way I've usually done it is I just do it with the eggplant, teeny bit of oil, and some salt and garlic. That's the easy way. But I just thought, wanted to get more of that bacony flavor. The reason I do it that way is I never like the bacony flavor, but I do like that crispness. So I just wanted this simple eggplant delicious crispness. There we go. So that can go in, and we'll put it in the dehydrator, and we'll check it in about 6 hours, and we'll see how it's going. Put it at about 115. And then I'm just going to take these, make sure they're nicely coated, and just spread them out. If I can avoid putting them on the Teflex sheets, I do. That's usually for gooey, gummy stuff. That way they'll go through quicker and they don't have to be exposed to Teflex. You could also use parchment. So, if you don't want to use the Teflon coated. And I don't think it's Teflon anymore. They call them Paraflex now, not Teflex.
As bad.
But I don't know. It's probably as bad. But you can actually just use, there's my coconut bacon. I'll take pictures tomorrow and let you guys see. I'll post them on Facebook. So check it out. So if you want to get the actual recording of this in downloadable recording, so you have it forever, go to vitalhealthcommunity.com.
It's the recipe book too.
What's that? And the recipe book too. Yeah, you'll get the recipe book. Plus you get a whole bunch of other bonuses. And one of the bonuses is, oops, that side, we can do it later. One of the bonuses is our Healing Kitchen Guide, which is about 50 pages of all of our resources. Like, where do I buy all this stuff? So whenever we come up with something that we haven't used before, we always add it to the book. All right. Next is easy. See me, if you've been in our community, you've seen me make this over and over, but it seems like people don't get tired of me making it. So the request was ricotta cheese. I'm Italian. I use ricotta cheese for making lots and lots of stuff. But also somebody else said anything with a cream sauce. So I'm going to show you how to make the ricotta cheese and then turn it into a cream sauce. I'm into multi-purposing, repurposing, etc. So if you could slide that over for me. You can see we get pretty messy here. But this is the way it is when I cook. Because, all right. So I'm going to take, thank you. I am going to take another blender container. Use the small. I like that one better. I like the medium-sized one the best. Thank you. All right. So again, this could be any nut or seed you want it to be. You can make it less nutty or seedy or less fatty by using something like konjac or chia or psyllium or something that will thicken it without the extra calories. So we can show you how to do that. But my standard recipe for ricotta cheese is a cup. Where'd my cup go?
It's down in the
Do what? Like, there it went. Thank you. I could do mac and cashew seems to be our favorite today, but it doesn't have to be. It can be anything. The reason I'm doing that is because you can see the visual. Like if you're trying to fool people into eating more healthfully and you're taking things to a party, you want this to look like what they're used to looking like. So if you bring something that's made with ricotta cheese that's brown, they're going to be suspicious. Make sense? So that's why I'm doing it this way. Yeah. It's almost a cup of each, which is fine. I think there are more nuts in there. Yeah, so my favorite way to do this is with, I love lemon in it. I like it very lemony. But you can, play with it. I'll usually, for that much nuts or seeds, I put probably a quarter cup of lemon juice. I'm going to start with 1 cup of water. And ow, how perfect is that? Cup of water. You can add salt and other seasonings just to taste after that. If you're trying to avoid salt, then you figure out other seasonings that you like that give it a nice flavor. You hear that? I know it's not done because I heard a little bit of a crunch. So I'm going to turn it down. So you have to use your sight and also your hearing when you're especially with that. Off. And use my handy dandy. Yeah, look how smooth that is. It doesn't have those little dots in it. Okay, so if we wanted a thicker cheese, we could add some. I'm going to pull some of it out though. If we wanted a thicker one, we could put a little bit of psyllium seed in there. And if I'm making, here's my thing, if I'm going to bake with this, like I'm going to make my kids some lasagna that's cooked, I'll oftentimes put some psyllium in it because it kind of gives it a stretchiness, kind of like the real thing. The real thing. Like cow's cheese. Okay, so I'm going to pour a little bit in here because we're going to use that for our cream sauce. And I'm going to show you how to thicken it without adding a whole bunch more nuts. And I didn't put salt in yet because I wanted to save that to the end. Because if you're going to put other seasonings in, you may not want to put salt in. And if you're trying to avoid salt, you probably don't want to put salt in. Now, if we're making sour cream, I would have put more lemon. I would put like a half a cup probably of lemon into that much, just because I want it to be nice and sour. The other option is you could put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in there to make it more of a sour cream. So I like creamy things too. So I don't remember who wrote that in there, but the creamy things. I like creamy stuff over my veggies. I like a huge plate of veggies and they're like a really nice creamy sauce. A huge plate of salad, creamy sauce, right? So whether it's cooked veggies or a salad, I love a nice flavored creamy sauce. Sometimes what I did, I made this stuff for my son the other day, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like after it's been in the fridge for a while. My son's been away for almost a year, overseas in school, and what did he miss more than anything? Your cheese. So I made him this cheese, and look how nice this is. Really nice. So it's been sitting in the freezer, in the refrigerator. One of the things he wanted was the dill garlic dip. So I took some of it and put it in a smaller bowl. I put in a bunch of powdered dill and garlic powder. Like, really? He goes, that's all you do to make that? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, I could do that. Like, yeah. So I made him that. And then I was, the next day I was having my lunch or whatever. And I went, oh, I really like chipotle. So these are these, I love these. Parma. Okay. Parma Chipotle Cayenne. It's made with hemp seeds and walnuts, has a little bit of nutritional yeast, sunflower seeds, roasted jalapeno, Himalayan salt, hemp seeds, onion, cayenne pepper. It's wonderful. And actually, they just sent me some samples. So if you guys are coming, if some of you are coming to our potluck tonight, I have some sample packets for you. So I love this stuff. And all I did was I just put some in my own individual bowl, whatever I wanted, and I just poured this stuff in. And I had it. They also have these other flavors. So you don't even have to know what you're doing in terms of flavor combining. They have this garlicky green. So it's got green powders in it. And it's garlicky. And then they have the original, which doesn't have it. It's just nutritional yeast, walnut, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds, Himalayan salt, all organic. Right, so you can make up a batch like I did. I had this in the refrigerator all week. And whenever you're ready to have a creamy sauce over your veggies or pasta, I don't eat pasta, but kelp pasta, whatever you're eating, you can pour that over and you just add your seasonings. You want it Italian, you dump some Italian seasoning in, right? So it's real easy. And there's so many of the pre-made mixes. I love Mountain Reserves because they have all kinds of them. They have West Indies flavor, they have Indian flavor, they have Southwest, whatever. And all you have to do is just pour it into your pre-made cheese. So one of the grab and go ideas that I have is you make some of this at the beginning of the week. Keep it simple like we just did without the salt, with very little or no lemon. And then if you want to make it sour cream, you add more lemon or some apple cider vinegar. If you want to make it dill and garlic, you just play with it, and you can do it every day, and it'll have a different dip every day, so you won't get tired. Lasts maybe 4 days in the fridge. Might last longer, but I don't know. We've never had it last more because it gets eaten, right? And if you wanted to actually make it better for your microbiome, you can make this, and then you can add some probiotic powder and let it sit either in a warm oven, not heated oven, but about 90 to 100 degrees, in a dehydrator or in a yogurt maker. And all those yogurts turn into the sauces and dips you put over. In fact, we just did a retreat and at the Ancient Yoga Center here in Austin, and the chef Jo was amazing there, and she just took up my ideas with recipes, and she just went nutty with it. And one of the things she made was a cashew pumpkin yogurt, but it was flavored like pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
It was delightful, delightful. And then she made it a parfait to make it look really pretty. So there's so many amazing things you can do with this healthy food without compromising your taste buds. So there you have it. This looks a little whiter because it's been sitting, it's brand new, and it doesn't have as much, salt and whatnot on it.
How much psyllium?
If you're going to do psyllium, I would stick to probably a teaspoon for the 2 cups. That's what I would do.
I always think it just thickens in the refrigerator.
Yeah, and it did thicken. This one I didn't put psyllium, and it thickened in the refrigerator. Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned glycoman?
Glucomannan.
Glucomannan. What's that for?
The glucomannan is...
Here it is.
Here it is. It's konjac. It's konjac. Glucomannan is the actual fiber, and then so you can get it in the powdered form. You can also get noodles made with this. So if you wanted macaroni and cheese, you buy some of the Konjac Foods noodles, and they also have them in ziti shapes and other kinds of shapes.
They have them in elbows.
In elbows too? Wow, cool. You can make macaroni and cheese by taking your Konjac macaronis and now you have a low glycemic form of macaroni and cheese, like non-dairy, non-gluten, low glycemic, non-grain version of macaroni and cheese, which was another one that was on the list. All right? Yeah, so if I was putting glucomannan, I'd probably put a 1/4 teaspoon. But again, I put it in, I'd set it aside while I was doing something else. In 10 or 15 minutes, if it was still not thicker than I wanted, if it wasn't quite as thick, I'd just add a little bit more. But 1/4 teaspoon is about.
Okay, I know someone who added too much konjac, and she said it turned to cement.
Cement, yes, it'll turn to cement. Same thing as if you add too much psyllium, right? If you add too much chia. We just put this chia in a bowl with water just like maybe an hour and a half ago, and look how thick it's gotten, right? If we had put less water or more chia, it would be brick. You'd have to be adding water in, right? So these things do stir it up. They will absorb the water. So if you have a very liquidy dip and you don't want it to be that liquidy, add some of the stuff, but wait, give it 15 minutes to do its trick of absorption. Makes sense? And if you had white chia, or if you were making a dark dip, we're going to show you how to make nachos where we put red bell pepper into this. And that's it. So now we've got all these different crazy ways to do it. We've got this dip. We can, actually, I think we'll just move on because I've talked about it. I don't think I have to actually show you all the different things you can do with it. That's how you make your creamy stuff. What I do want to do is take this, put red bell pepper in it to make a nacho cheese because we're going to make nachos. So red bell pepper. Normally I would put the red bell pepper in before I put the nuts in and let it be the liquid. Let it just liquefy down. So it may get a little thin, but it's okay. I just put a half a red bell pepper in there. We'll see if that goes. With that was with so that was with a cup of the nuts. Voila. And a kale. So I was going to put more lemon in that for sour cream because the nachos would be flavored with this, the nacho cheese and the sour cream. And look how pretty that is. Now it is a little bit thinner than I would like. So I could put a little bit of the konjac in it to thicken it up. And we're going to move on and then we'll come back to it. Probably thicken up and that'll give you a good idea. My fingers are so slippery. I can't open anything anymore. Thank you. And this is a quarter. Put about a quarter teaspoon. And it gives it a mouthfeel that's really nice, like a slipperiness I just really like. Now I could stir it in or I could blend it, but as long as I've got the blender dirty already, I might as well just give it a quick whirl. So if I'm going to make a mayonnaise, I might use some of this, put some apple cider vinegar, and put a little bit of the konjac powder to thicken it up and make it like a creamy mayonnaise. So there's so much you could do and not miss your old favorites. You know what I mean? So look how pretty that is. Okay, we're going to let it sit for a bit. I'm going to grab my notes. Let's see what I was going to do next. I cut these in a specific order based on the equipment I needed. So I did the cheese. We're on page 2, nachos, and the next ones are easy. All right, so nachos. So I'm going to get a plate, and we're going to lay them out and make them look real pretty. Okay. So my favorite way to do the nachos is to get jicama, slice it thin, and then slice it into triangles. I don't have jicama today. Jicama always hard to get, but I forgot to put it on my list. So we're going to make them with zucchini rounds. You could do them with cucumber rounds. You could do them with pretty much anything. But like I said, my favorite is usually to do them jicama. So I'm just going to cut them into nice little rounds. Now, if you really wanted them to be triangles, you could make them that way, but then they're tiny. But with the jicama, it's bigger, so when you make them into triangles, it works. So I just did that to show. But I'm fine with round tortilla chips. Okay. And do a little bit more. So what do we typically put on nachos, right? A refried bean type of thing sometimes. I don't have that, but I could easily make that with sunflower seeds. If you haven't looked at my books or in previous months of this, we've made refried bean type of things with sunflower seeds and mushrooms and things like that. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. We don't have that today, so I'm going to makeshift nachos, right? So I am going to take some of my pretty cheese, which is thickened already, pretty good, and I'm just going to pour it over. And nachos are usually kind of messy, so I'm not going to worry that everything stays all nicely on it. I'm just going to kind of smother this stuff. One other way you could do it if you wanted it to look really pretty is you could put it in a pastry bag and you can squirt it out, or a Ziploc bag, cut the little corner off, and then you just squirt it on and it looks real pretty. I've done that for parties. The other way you could do it is you can get some flax crackers or chia crackers and use that as your base. And those you can get pretty much anywhere these days. Okay. So now we have a little bit of nachos with the cheese all over it. And then we're going to take some of this. I think I'll add a little bit of lemon. Set in another bowl since this is so full. See how thick it did get, right? Put a little bit of lemon. And that'll be our sour cream. And taste it to make sure it's sour enough. Now I forgot, I didn't put salt in this. So we can sprinkle that over the top if we want to. Tiny bit more. And that's the way you do it. You just put a tiny bit. You see how you like it. You add a little bit more if you want. I'm going to actually use this cool kimchi salt in there because it's going to give it a nice flavor. And nachos are typically spicy. Now, if you wanted, you could put cayenne or chipotle. I forgot to do that. And to that, we could just take some of our chipotle cayenne parma and sprinkle it over the top. So there's a lot of ways that we could be creative with this. And I'm not going to quite, because I want to still see the pink below it, so I'm being a little. Now I would like guacamole for the top of these. Okay. And where's my tomato? Chop up some tomato. We could make some fresh salsa. Salsa's easy to make. I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to do that, but I'll just pretend. We'll just cut up the tomato. I like to use a serrated edge blade for cutting tomato because otherwise it gets kind of mushy. This is a pretty ripe tomato. So let's do this. If I had tomatillo, I could put some of that on. I could get some cilantro. Do we have cilantro?
Oh, yes.
Can we get some cilantro?
Left drawer. No drawer. Left no drawer. A plastic bag. I know all the cucumbers. Yeah, but you could make a really cool salsa. Left.
You're in the wrong drawer. Are you? Oh no, you're in the right drawer. Okay, sorry. I thought you were in the bottom drawer.
Cilantro there.
Show you a bag of cilantro? Okay. But look how pretty that looks. Doesn't that look pretty? Now we're going to put on some cilantro, and then we'll do some avocado. I think I'll just put avocado. Everybody knows how to make guacamole. I don't have to show that. We've shown that in so many shows. With this cilantro, I'm just going to chop it up real fine. And you can see I'm just throwing this together. If you wanted to be taking this to your Memorial Day barbecue, you can make it look a little prettier. But nachos never really look pretty. They just look like messy, don't they? Because everything like whirls together.
That's right.
There you go. And I'm going to grab an avocado. And to keep the avocado from turning brown, we can just take a little lemon, pour it in the little hole there, and squirt it around. And that way it's not, the slices won't turn brown. And you can do that once you cut them too. Lots of ways to cut an avocado. I'm just showing you real quick. And then we can just put a little chunk of avocado on top of each. Yeah. Pretty good, eh?
Mouth is watering.
Oh, yeah. Mouths are watering.
It's great for the summertime.
Yeah. It's fresh. And if you don't use chips, right, you're using veggies, you're getting your kids, your family, your mom, your dad, whoever you're serving, your partner, you're getting them to have more veggie instead of just more carb that's not nutrient dense. We want nutrient dense food. So we can take a picture of that. I'm going to try holding it up to the camera. Maybe you can squirt the camera down on it. But doesn't that look kind of cool?
Very
We can put some romaine lettuce leaves and decorate it. There you have nachos.
Could also use jicama.
And if it was jicama, we wouldn't see the edges.
Actually, put them in the leaves too.
You can put them in leaves. You can make like mini tacos. Absolutely. Try one.
Okay.
It's the best thing.
Twist our arms.
All right. Okay. So the last major recipe, I wanted to just talk quickly about butter, and then I have rice pudding. We're a little over time. So I'm going to take one of these bowls. All right. So when I had family members staying with me for a while, a few years back, and they were into, toast with butter and all this sort of stuff. So coming and staying with us for a while was a little, let's just say, different because of how we eat. So they were talking about butter. Don't you have butter? Okay, what can I do to make butter? So I'm going to take a mixture of half and half of coconut oil. Why be coconut oil? Because coconut will harden when you put it in the refrigerator. And then I will take flax oil, half and half, coconut and flax oil. Now it looks yellowish like butter. Put it in a bowl for now. So you can see what that looks like. And now, what does butter say? Salted butter. All right, I can handle that. That's not hard. I won't put the kimchi butter in. So I'll just put the regular one. That would be very interesting. And then you basically take this and you put it in a container. These, we used to have little ones, and we still do. So you take a little jar and you put it in there. Let me see if I can grab one. Oh, I don't know the jar. I like to put it in a dark container because the flax is volatile, but you'll get the idea. I'll just pour it in here. And a butter mold, yeah, if you have one, right? Oh, you know what? You could put it in one of those molds, right? And it's right, and you can have pats of butter, right? Those have kind of a funny decoration, but you have the plain ones, and then you have little pats of butter. It's a very cool idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I should do some of that. We'll stick these in the freezer.
You
I
put it
love
in
ideas.
in a jar, big and fast.
I'll just do 3 of them. We'll see how it is. So in the meantime, would you mind going out and seeing how the ice cream's doing and how the candy's doing? So we can show those. And maybe we'll save the rice pudding for next time. Cauliflower rice pudding. Who wants to stay for cauliflower? Don't do it in there. Do it in the outside one because there's no flat area there and it'll just pour out. But if you go out there, you can see where we put the other ones, or you put the other ones out there. And all right, so should we make the rice pudding? It's real easy. We'll just do the rice pudding. What do you need? Okay. I just need my food processor. Take that. And we'll do the quick version of it, and I'll tell you what a little bit longer version is. And then you can the bowl. How's the ice cream?
I'll tell you in a
Can
second.
you taste it? The ice cream scoops.
Just take spoons, whatever. It's like gelato.
Oh.
Really good.
There you go. Look at that.
Oh,
Isn't that beautiful?
what flavor was it?
Vanilla. Ginger. We had ginger gelato in
Florence.
Italy. Yeah, Florence. And it's got pecans in it. So, all right. So if you're going to scoop it out for people, you can have a little scooper. It looks pretty. I'm just going to use a spoon, like he said.
You look
Taste
at
it.
Oh, want the candies?
Did you want this?
Yes, if they're, yeah, they should be. So that, oh my gosh. Is that good or what? I'm going to grab a little bowl and show you how you can serve it.
Put some in there.
If you have time
Put it
to
in.
do this before.
Looks like a butter pecan.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's what we were going after.
Since this will keep long, we might as well just eat it.
Yeah,
Finish it.
we'll finish it. But let me just show it.
Chocolate sauce.
Oh, where's that chocolate? I had that chocolate from before.
The leftover chocolate.
Yeah, where's the leftover
I made
chocolate? So,
candy out of it.
oh, we did? We'll have to melt it. Not all of it. Wasn't there still some of that big here? Oh, the glob.
What's one?
The glob.
Oh, this one globbed. We could thin this out and I'll just make it look good. Chocolate sauce. And we can put chocolate chips on it. You can put the chocolate nibs.
No, pesto.
On top. You want these?
Yeah, I'm going to show them. And then we put one of those cookies sticking out of it, right? Oh, wow. It came over. It came over.
Right away.
Maybe find a flat spot in there.
These bowls at home.
I have these chips you can get if you don't mind. Stevia, where's the chocolate chip from?
Oh, these
Did you put them somewhere? Anyway, this is fun.
strawberries would be good.
And then you put strawberries on top and make a sundae. Is the cheesecake done?
Okay, so they-
Some,
You could serve this to your family.
what's the green one?
Cool.
What's the green?
Strawberry. Have to take a picture of this. Somebody has to pull out a cell phone and take a picture. What do you think? I want your opinions. Doesn't that look nice?
It's a great breakfast.
Great breakfast. I love it. I love it. It looks like these were not flat. Were they at an angle?
I think when he
It's that pot one,
put
yeah,
it
of
in
course, it
the,
was so loose.
Yeah, so let me
Came
show you
across.
though. They're at an angle, but you could see that they pop out in little, really cute chocolate squares. They got a little thinned out because but look. Isn't that pretty? You could do that on top of the ice cream.
Oh my goodness, it does it all by itself.
These are the little ones, so when you pop them out.
This is a sweet spot dream dessert.
And it's Sweet Spot friendly, those of you who are from Sweet Spot watching.
Ice cream.
Ta-da! Where's the camera? Because it's going to go really fast.
Yeah.
Here, grab mine. Would you mind? Just take a picture. All right.
The other thing I mentioned you can do with the cashew cheese is we dehydrated it.
Oh, let me tell you that. Thank you for
Yes.
reminding me of that. This nacho cheese, especially the leftover, you dehydrate it in the dehydrator on the trays and overnight, and it forms into this most amazing, cheesy, crumbly, delicious stuff. And I did this before we went to.
so how do you contain it?
You just pour it on the Teflon sheet. This is a little thin, so I might thicken it a little bit, but I may put it in the fridge. You could. Yeah, totally could. You could just take the nachos as they are. I would stick that in there. In fact, we could do that and eat them later. But I would put that in the dehydrator and it'll all firm together. What do you think, guys? Any questions? Do we still have people on? Should we make the rice pudding or make it next time?
Big call for rice pudding.
Big call for it? Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to just taste this and let you guys know. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, my God.
I mentioned that. What do we dehydrate that cashew cheese? Just 110, right? I mean, just
Yeah, 110. Oh, we'll have to show you the. Okay. Oh, man.
pretty good, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh, not quite long enough, but we'll at least try it and see. So what you're going to do is open the spring form.
Is it
And I'm
soft?
going to see if it's going to be solid enough.
No.
No. Yeah, it's not long enough. I will put this back in and I'll take a picture of it and I'll post it on the Facebook page tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to take it too far out, then I wouldn't get it back in. All right. Rice pudding. I'm going to make the quick and easy version and I'll tell you what the less quick and easy, but not much less quick and easy. We're going to cheat and we're going to use a can of coconut milk. So if you can open that can. Normally I wouldn't. Normally I make my own coconut milk. Can open that. Yeah, thanks. right, so I'm going to take my cauliflower and I'm going to cut it into friendly sized pieces for my little food processor, my big food processor. Oops, Cassidy just got a piece of cauliflower. The dog likes cauliflower. In fact, she likes the parts that we don't generally eat much of, which is the stem parts. Here you go, Cass. She treats them like bones, and she like takes them away into a corner and quiet them. Pecks away. There's another piece for her. I love cauliflower because it's so versatile and there's so many things you can do with it.
The machine must be the secret on making ice cream so good.
Well, smooth. The smoothness is because
consistency,
it, yeah, the
Which is why the
consistency.
machine's called gelato. That makes it the consistency of what you get good gelato. But no, catch as catch can in the flavors. Perfect
Well,
amount
the
of
flavor,
sweetness.
you know, you have to just get them, you play with it. And it has to taste good before you put it in. If it doesn't taste good before you put it in the gelato maker, you can't expect that it's going to taste good.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. Oh, I need a little more chocolate flavor. So I'm just going to hit this on the S blade. And I don't want to do too much, but I want to get it down to rice size. Now, here's the beauty of this. If you want really quick and easy rice pudding, Trader Joe's sells this frozen. Rice cauliflower. Even Costco. Yeah, so it's people are getting healthier and really more conscious these days.
Oh, fresh.
But it's something you gotta watch because you don't want to walk away from it and then ended up having it to be too small. What I'm gonna do is take out some of the bigger pieces. I'm gonna put it in another bowl. One of those the clear one. And then I'll put the other pieces back in because I don't want these guys to get just mushy. Yeah. But you can hold it back to the camera. It will show how beautiful it is. Now, if you prefer it cooked or you do better with cooked cruciferous, you can very lightly steam it. Or I'll show you another way to do it. You can just do it the way we just did it, to rice it, and then we can put it in a little saucepan with the sauce and then just warm it up that way and it'll soften. Very gently cook it.
Oh. Jane says you can buy Green Giant brand at Costco.
May not be organic.
Oh, they got
Organic.
It. They've got
Organic?
here
Yeah.
in Austin.
Go figure. Then you don't have to do all this, you just can take it right out. All right. One little piece of that. Yeah, I mean, literally it's 5 minutes. It's still going to save you 5 minutes. Because then you have to defrost it, so it may not save you even 5 minutes.
Well, plus cleaning.
Well, it's true. Cleaning. It's just nice that there's choices these days. And the way I would normally make the sauce is I would take the coconut cream and blend it up. I'm gonna wash my hands off. Yeah, I would take the coconut cream and I blend it up and put all my flavors in it. But we're gonna do something a little bit easier today. I'm putting that in the fridge. I don't think it'll firm up yet. But, coconut. The coconut
Frozen.
No, the coconut
Can.
Yeah, so this is coconut milk. This is 13 ounces. This is a lot of cauliflower, so I'm going to put about half the can in. It's going to be quick. It's hard to have too much coconut milk. So we're just going to stir it around. Now, if you wanted to cook this, and especially if you're sensitive, your tummy's sensitive to raw cruciferous, then you would just put this in a pan instead of doing what I'm doing now. You'd be doing it in a little saucepan and just gently warming it through. Okay, well, what do we put in rice pudding? Well, we want cinnamon for sure. And cinnamon's one of those things you can be really generous with. So you can put a tablespoon of cinnamon. A little cardamom would be good. Cardamom is something you don't be generous with because it's pretty strong, and if you put too much, it doesn't taste so good.
Or nutmeg.
Nutmeg you want to be really careful about too. And I'm just going to put a quarter, an eighth of a teaspoon in there. I kind of have an eyeball for it, but sometimes I overdo it. Sometimes I underdo it. I have a feeling it's not going to be enough of it. I'm going to put vanilla.
I put vanilla in.
Probably a teaspoon of vanilla. What, was that more?
Can never have two.
Always start with the numbers I say, and then you can always.
Generous.
I just
Is
guess.
vanilla powder stronger than?
Vanilla powder is the
Yeah.
whole
Than-
vanilla
than
bean.
liquid?
And it's,
I don't think it's that strong.
It's like turmeric powder is super heavy duty versus fresh turmeric.
I think I usually use about the same amount of each. Right. So now I've got.
Vanilla, extract is liquid, so.
I think it's good.
It needs a little sweetness. So we can put, if you're a date person, you can blend up dates and put paste in. That's higher glycemic. If you're not, if you're on the sweet spot, you put some Lohan, you can put some stevia. You put actually the stevia vanilla. My favorite, I love English toffee. Anybody English toffee? I put a dropper full in there. Mesquite would be good. Lucuma would be good. Maca would be good. I've done it with a little bit of ashwagandha, which is very strong, so only a little bit. I've done it with I'm going to put a pinch of salt because a pinch of salt brings out the sweetness. And a little Lohan. And if you wanted to make chocolate pudding, you could put a little chocolate in there. I'm just going to put a sprinkle of a little Lohan. Again, you can put erythritol, you can put whatever you want. Blended up dates. If you're not a glycemic nightmare, like some of us are, we've messed ourselves up for so many decades that we can't tolerate.
More cinnamon?
I put more cinnamon. Feel like it needs more cinnamon. I may put a little more vanilla. You could put almond extract. I mean, what do you like? Sky's the limit. You can look it up online and say, or your favorite cookbook, what is it made with typically? Yum. It feels like it needs something, so maybe you guys can tell me. Maybe a slight bit of lemon because I like sour. Grab some little. Tell me what you think it needs, because I always look at balancing things with sugar: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, and bitter. And I think it needs a little sour, but it's my opinion. It might need a little bit more pungent, which I would count as the spices. Yeah. More cinnamon?
I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to put a tiny bit like it.
Oh, that might work.
Yeah. Just a tiny little sprig. Not a lot, just to bring out some of the other flavors. Yeah, and it might need more coconut. Might not be coconutty enough.
Oh, put coconut flakes.
Coconut in there. That's better. We'll put some coconut shreds in there. You put hemp in there if you want some omega-3. Be a big fan of hemp and omega-3. Yeah, you could put more coconut. This coconut cream, actually, we have to blend it. That's why I was trying to do the quickie. But that could give it, just blend it really quickly. Let's see if it's actually, sometimes it's, it would need a little bit of blending. It's pretty thick. Yeah. In the winter, it won't come out like that at all. It's just solid as a brick. But yeah, but something like that would make it, so however you want to do it. You can make a nut milk. I love to make like a cashew milk or a macadamia nut milk or something and just pour that over it. So there's a lot of ways to do it. You saw how quick and easy it was, right? Here, taste it now. Scott, you want to taste?
It tastes like lemon.
The lemon did it? Yeah. So whenever you're like trying to figure out what it is, go through the 5 flavors: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, and bitter. Bitter is easy. Most things have some bitterness to it. Pungent is any of your spices. Sour, obviously, lemon or apple cider vinegar. Sometimes sweet is just carrot or tomato. Salty could be celery. Any number of things. Yes? Good?
I'm surprised.
What do you think?
That's delicious.
Good? All right. So we're done. We did everything. We did 8 recipes today, guys.
That's a lot.
Holy
Did you
cow.
show these?
The cookies? Yeah. So these are the cookies. Again, everything was low glycemic, so sweet spot friendly, diabetic friendly. Try these. Wow, I like it.
Coconut.
Yummy. Any questions? Last questions?
Way over.
Thank you for being here. We're way over, but
Nope.
it was fun. Anything?
Not yet. Anybody got last questions? Post them.
You like the glad we did the rice pudding?
Oh, yeah.
So come back next month. Go to vitalhealthcommunity.com and you'll get the downloadable video of this. You'll also get the recipe guide.
Want to talk about any body balance?
You get invited to all the other stuff. And anybody's out there going, how can you help me? I need help. We're just opening up registration for our year-long coaching program where we help people for a whole year. We don't even have it officially launched yet, but if you go to ercapply.com, you can talk to one of our coaches to see if you're a good candidate. And you get a year's worth of the Vital Community for free in that program. And the ones that we're going to do next month to entice you to come back, we're probably going to do, I'm going to figure out a way to do barbecue ribs. Somebody put that in, and I'm like, and then I thought of a way to do it, so I have an idea. We're going to do, what else did I put? Oh, breads, pancakes, macaroni and cheese, I'll actually do it. And anything else, so post on if you go to the Unstoppable Health Community, it's a free community online on Facebook, and just go in there and post that you want to. There's a reminder to come to this. Just go under that and say, hey, I would love for next month for you to do this, that, or the other thing. I'm going to tell you what to do. All right. Thank you, guys. Anything more?
Delicious.
All right. Bye. See you next month.